Hello everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. So today we are checking out the brand new VR platformer, Max Mustard. Max Mustard is developed by Toast Interactive, the same studio that gave us Richie's Plank experience, and it's releasing for the MetaQuest headset on March 21st and coming to both Steam and PlayStation VR2 at a later date. The game retails for $29.99 and it's somewhere between 6 to 10 hours long, depending on both your skill set and if you want to do all the optional missions. Now, if you're a fan of VR platformers, your first question is most likely, well, how does this stack up against titles like Moss and Astro Bot? Those two are clearly the cream of the crop or the benchmark to hit, and I'm happy to say that Max Mustard is some true competition, but doesn't truly surpass those two great games. He clearly stands above other titles like Lucky's Tale and VR Adventures, but there's just certain aspects that I'll go into detail about that put those other two titles slightly ahead of Max. Now, just because this game isn't the best of the best, doesn't mean it's not still excellent. Max Mustard truly surprised me with its attention to detail, unique mechanics that we've never really seen before in a platformer, and just plenty of high quality content. Now, continuing to compare this game with both Astro and Moss, I'll let you know where it surpasses those titles and where it falls a little short. Overall, the game is much more similar to Astro Bot, focusing on pure platforming. You're also looking for a bunch of lost hidden creatures, which are tied to the game's progression, so it's basically the exact same formula. It doesn't focus on storytelling, combat, or puzzles like Moss does, and it's also missing those stunningly beautiful environments that Quill has to navigate through. We're pushing more into the cartoony side, similar to Astro again, and while the graphical fidelity of Max Mustard is good, it's just not quite as good as those other two titles, as the worlds just don't feel as graphically diverse or offer up the same level of fidelity. But honestly, at this point, I'm just picking on the game as I put it up against the best of the best, and there's not much to complain about here. I only had one more minor annoyance, which was the slow difficulty ramp up, and just not feeling as connected to Max as you do with both Quill and Astro Bot. The game has a hard split between your actions and Max's. What I mean by this is you're rarely doing things like shooting your gun and controlling Max at the same time. This does help cut down the overall difficulty level, making it much more noob friendly, but I tend to enjoy that multitasking challenge. But let's move forward into more positive aspects and what makes this title special. Max Mustard has an excellent mechanic for letting you control the overall difficulty level, and at the same time rewarding you for your efforts. Unlike most other platformers, coins in this game have a real purpose, allowing you to buy upgrades from Max. This is everything from different attacks, faster movement speed, and even extra health. So you're definitely incentivized to collect every coin you see, but make one fall and you go back to the previous checkpoint and you'll have to collect those coins all over again. So this makes some of the game's more difficult platforming completely optional. There's also other optional levels throughout the game, which are usually unique mini-games that focus on collecting as many coins as possible. Now, one of the other main aspects that stood out to me most was some of the game's unique mechanics and overall usage of physics. There's blocks that'll change every single time you jump, seesaws that can be used in conjunction with bombs to blast you into the sky, and you'll even get to use physics to steer some objects. Now at this point, there's not much left to talk about, and let's just get into my overall verdict. If you are a fan of VR platformers, Max Mustard is a definite recommendation. It's a high quality, lengthy experience, featuring some unique mechanics we haven't seen before, and it also gives you control on just how difficult you want the game to be. In my opinion, it's not quite as good as Moss or Astro Bot, but it's extremely close and way better than other VR platformers like VR Adventure and Lucky's Tale. So if you're like me, currently waiting for an Astro Bot 2, Max Mustard should help scratch that itch for the time being. Now, I'm not exactly sure if Toast Interactive was correct in stating this is the next generation VR platformer, but it's definitely a solid one that I highly recommend. If I failed to cover anything or you guys have any additional questions, please drop them below. I'll do my best to answer you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. As always, I'll see you guys on next time.